Hi there, I'm Lisa Burkhart Worley of Pearls of Promise Ministries, and welcome to Pop Talk, the show where you never know what topics might pop up. We're here at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Nashville, Tennessee. We thank Overcomers Television for doing our production today, and you can watch this show on their YouTube channel, Overcomers TV. But you never know what topics will pop up, as we said. And today our show is going to be about Israel. And we're going to talk to someone who's going to tell us if it is safe to once again travel to Israel. I know you want to know that. So Michelle has the introduction.
Thank you, Lisa. Our guest today is Jill Daly. Jill serves as the director of the Israel Ministry and Tourism Midwest region. She has the responsibility of promoting tourism to Israel in 12 U.S. states. Before joining the Israel Ministry Tourism in 2012, she served as an account manager for a brand marketing agency specializing in Christian community. Jill, I was actually supposed to travel to Israel last month, but the trip was canceled due to the war, of course. Can you describe how devastating the war has been and also what effect it has had on the tourist industry in Israel?
Absolutely. So it's changed so much for all of us. It's changed lives, it's changed families, and it really, when the events and the attacks happened on October 7th, things changed dramatically. Before that, we were experiencing record-breaking tourism. We had more than we've ever had in the past, and October 8th, we had 26 tourists. But the bright light of that is that they are coming back. We have tourists that are coming back for solidarity trips. We have tourists that are coming back for volunteerism trips. And just those that are coming back because the land of Israel is a special place. In January, we were very happy to celebrate that we had 30% of our tourism returning. So it shows. It shows the importance of the land and the importance of celebrating Israel and standing with Israel.
Wow. Yes, and we know that there's still fighting going on in Gaza, and of course the threat in the north, with Hezbollah. So we were talking about when you feel like it's safe. Jill, can you tell us a little bit about what you're experiencing when people are contacting you and they're talking about the fighting that's going on? How are you communicating with them? Because I know people are really interested. We want to be there as believers. We stand with Israel, so we really want to hear your thoughts on that.
Of course, and really things have changed a lot. And I will be very upfront, very transparent that if we did not feel it was safe to allow tourists to come into Israel, we would not invite you to be there. We would not have you come. We would not have you be our guest in our country. However, it is safe. It's safe to be able to go. Those that were evacuated, they were evacuated to the places where the tourists go, because those are the places that are the safe places to go. Okay. So you really can still go. If you are comfortable going now, please, we invite you to come now. Support the industry, support the people that you know there, the people that you've made connections because you've been before, or just come if you haven't been before, because we are waiting to welcome you into the country.
Wow. I have a friend that I made. I went to Israel twice in 2023, and I have a friend who's a tour guide, and he texts me on WhatsApp, and he just tells me how bad it is. He doesn't have any work. He can't provide for his family. And I'm just wondering how economically this war has affected the tourism industry and the hotels. And I think about the restaurants. There's so many people that we don't even think about perhaps when we're talking about what is going on over there. So how bad has it been for that tourism industry, including the hotels and things?
Obviously, it's been very difficult. Like I said, we went from having record-breaking tourism to no tourism. So that means that those restaurants, that means those different sites within Israel, the bus drivers, the tour guides, they haven't had the opportunity to work because there hasn't. And this is just coming off of not having had the opportunity to work during the pandemic. So we were getting back to those numbers. We were actually surpassing where we were before the pandemic, which were record-breaking before then. So now we're in a situation where, yes, we're building again, we're rebuilding, and part of rebuilding and part of those that talk about that they stand with Israel, they support Israel. Supporting Israel is standing in Israel. Supporting Israel is coming to Israel, being a tourist, being able to come and be at these biblical places, to be able to show the volunteers the opportunities. And after the events of October 7th and the attacks on Israel, many of our citizens, they were called up to reserve duty, and they went into reserve duty. So where we're seeing the volunteerism is it's those opportunities for us as Christians, us as just citizens, to come and support and be able to help the farmers, to be able to harvest their fields, to be able to plant their fields. It's having that. So it doesn't mean that you have to come and do your entire trip to Israel and service unless you want to. If you want to spend 2 weeks, you're more than welcome to come and spend 2 weeks serving. If you want to be able to just spend a day volunteering, but then going on to tour and to see the biblical places, walk in the footsteps of faith and walk in the footsteps of Jesus. Those places are open, and we are waiting to welcome you with open arms.
Have you ever seen in your history with Israel tourism, you've been there like 12 years, right?
I have.
Have you ever in your history seen anything as bad as what's been going on with this war?
No, we've been through situations in the past, and again, like I said, we come to times where we have been to situations in the past where we've said it's not safe to come, but it's gone quickly. We've come out of that quicker. This is definitely something much worse. What happened on October 7th was horrific, and it affected so many, and it affected not only the Israelis, but it affected us here. It affected people around the world because you have loved ones. You said you have a tour guide that you talk to, and you talk to often. What was the first thing you did after October 7th? I know for us, we were scrambling, calling our friends. We were scrambling, calling the people that we loved, asking, "Are you okay?" We're
talking
praying
to our
for
friends
you.
in Israel. Yeah.
Yes, and that's really supporting, and that support and those words of encouragement were a bright light after. But the bright light now is being able to come back and being able to go to Israel again.
Absolutely. How has the war changed how you and your company do your jobs?
I mean, for us, a lot of it is education. It's
Yeah.
it's helping people to understand and to understand what's happening, what's
Right.
going on, and educating them that there are opportunities to come back. There's opportunities if you're looking for. I mean, I've gotten calls from people saying, "Hey, we really want to be able to serve Israel. We want to be able to come and volunteer.
Right.
What is that like?" Or I had a group that recently went. They went with their tour provider, their tour operator that planned the trip for. They were having trouble finding airfare and making sure that they had the proper connections to do that. And that group was determined. They went in January, determined they were not going to cancel their trip. They were still going. They had their flight canceled the night before they were supposed to go because of a snowstorm in Missouri.
Geez.
So instead of just saying, we're not going to go, they rented vehicles and they drove 14 plus hours overnight because they were going to Israel. And they said when they got there, they felt safe, they felt welcomed, they felt loved by the Israeli people and appreciated for the fact that they came and they stood.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Jill, can you explain how the Israel Ministry Tourism, the Ministry of Tourism works? Because you're actually a part of the Israeli government, right?
We are.
That is so cool. So what are your responsibilities?
So we are actually the tourism board for the state of Israel. So we do the marketing and promotion of tourist Israel. So it's really a lot of just talking and educating and helping people to see the importance of going. And it doesn't matter if it's somebody coming from a Christian perspective, a Jewish perspective, and they want to have that faith and heritage opportunity, or if it's somebody that's coming because they love history, they love culture and architecture, and they want to be able to come and see these places and these ancient places. There's something in Israel that touches all of us. It doesn't matter why you're going, but you are touched by the people, you are touched by the stones of the old city, by the Sea of Galilee, and being able to be on the Sea of Galilee and seeing that. So it's ancient history that comes alive, that we ourselves as Americans, I mean, we consider 200 years antique. We're talking thousands of years. So,
Big difference.
Yeah, and I imagine it's going to be especially special, if I can say that, to go back when you do go back, because we weren't sure if we'd get to go back, because I think there are a lot of people. I was talking to a friend of mine who's a docent at the Garden Tomb, and I said, when are you going back? And he said, I don't know, 2 years, 3 years. Now, he was putting a long time frame on it. So do you have the people to cover some of these sites there that are tourist sites?
We do, and we're very lucky that we do have volunteers that are coming to help with those sites. We are very lucky that many of our soldiers that at one time were called up to reserves are able to be coming back, and they are being able to resume their place and their jobs in their everyday life. So, there are opportunities for them to be back and be able to work and do that.
Since you're part of the Israeli government, are they saying, get the people back? It's just like, come on, putting a lot of pressure on you?
They are in some kind of respect, but they understand the importance, and they understand the solidarity that many Americans feel with Israel. Here at NRB, we are so blessed with the support that we receive, so much so that our Minister of Tourism came and is here now because he saw the importance of this audience and this group and the investment to be able to invite them back. So he was at the opening session inviting the attendees to come back to Israel and to be able to experience it again.
I know that I was invited to an Jerusalem prayer breakfast in May, so I thought, you must be getting better.
Yes, we
it
need
must
to go to
be
that.
getting better if they're starting to invite us to these events. And I know I'm going to a meeting while I'm here at NRB about a trip to Israel. So I'm open. I'm not afraid.
Please come back. 'Cause having been there before, you know how you feel safe. You know how you feel when you're in the country. And I just encourage, if you haven't been, go and experience it, because you will come back and you will feel like you did, Lisa. You will feel how you felt coming back from Israel and that connectedness.
It changes you too.
It
certainly
does change you.
You come back completely changed.
We love the Jerusalem, or the Jewish Quarter. I mean, that was our favorite thing. I love going into the Jewish Quarter.
And it's so funny because everybody always asks, what's your favorite place in Israel? And for me, it changes. It changes where I am in my life, where I am spiritually, and where I connect the most. So sometimes it's that connection at the Sea of Galilee and being out there and being able to pray and know that, like, Jesus calmed the storm. This is where Jesus and his disciples were. Or it's being able to be in the ancient city of Jerusalem and being at the Western Wall and being able to pray and pray for my friends, pray for my family, and pray. So it changes all that. It's asking, who's your favorite child?
Right.
Nobody has a favorite child.
Right.
Well, we might have a favorite child. We just don't want to admit it. But that's Israel.
Yeah, it is. And I remember one time asking my friends to give me their prayer requests, and I would put them in the wall. And I didn't realize how much I was going to get, how much, people were going to respond to that.
A lot.
I had like 40 little pieces of paper that I was trying to put in the little crevices on the wall. But it was special to be able to do that for my friends.
Yes.
So,
You know what happens to those?
I know they keep them.
They keep them. They collect them, because you have millions of tourists that are coming every year. They're putting those, and nobody puts just one. You're praying for, they collect them carefully and they bury them on the Mount of Olives.
Yes, I thought that was so special when I heard it. I thought these prayers do not, get burned up. They're around for a long, long time. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Jill. We hope that tours will once again make their way to Israel and people will experience the beauty as well as the history of the Jewish people in the land that makes Israel so special. If you want to know more about the Israel Ministry of Tourism, their web address is www.gov.il.
Our next guest is involved with Israel, but in a different way. He and his wife are supporting the food bank, the National Food Bank of Israel, called Leket Israel. And they've helped Holocaust survivors, and now they're providing for those in need who've been affected by the war with Hamas in Israel. His name is Ray McDonald, and he and his wife Rosalind have really supported this out of Canada. And so it's good to have you here in Tennessee, and welcome to Tennessee. We're actually from Texas, but it's a long ways from Canada, isn't it, Ray?
It is, yes, and it's great to be here with you.
And so how did this all start? Can you talk about how Leket Israel was founded, and then how did you guys get involved?
Leket, actually, a lot of people ask, Leket, what does that mean? Okay, it's a biblical word, it's a Hebrew word, and it means to glean. And we see in Leviticus, in Deuteronomy, to ancient Israel, God says, you shall not glean all of your harvest. You're to leave the gleanings for the widow, for the orphan, for the stranger in your midst. So we are a modern adaptation of that. And to give you a really good biblical picture of Leket, we look at Ruth. And the law literally meant that when the harvesters would go through the field, if anything dropped to the ground, the moment it hit the ground, boom, it doesn't belong to the farmer anymore. By law, it belongs to the needy.
Yeah, they could go behind them and pick it up, yeah.
Exactly. Wow. So an interesting concept behind it, Boaz could have filled a sack with grain and just handed it to her, but he didn't do that. Why? Would she feel beholding to him? That maybe she owes him something in return? But the commandment of Leket, by law, that gleaning belonged to the needy. So we're kind of a modern adaptation of that.
And it was founded not by a Christian, right? It's founded by a modern Orthodox person.
Yes. So Joseph Gittler from New Jersey made Aliyah with his family in the year 2000. A lawyer by trade, and after he was in Israel for a couple of years, he began to think, I need to be involved with this country. I need to be volunteering, and volunteering really is a national pastime for Israelis. And he visited nonprofits in his community just to find out, to get a picture. What is the need? How can I help? How can I contribute? So he visited several nonprofits, and he was getting a similar response from each of them. We need money just to provide for the basic needs of the people that we serve. Like food. We need food, for an example. I mean, food is so fundamental to human existence. So right around that time, there was a catered event, a celebration that Joseph was attending. And of course, an Israeli celebration, dancing and singing and food, lots of food. So at the end of it, he's talking to his friend who was hosting the event. People were leaving, and he found himself in the kitchen. And he couldn't believe what he saw there. Food, lots of food, left over. Okay? So he asked the caterer, what are you going to do with all of this food? And the caterer said, well, the staff will have a bite to eat before they go home, and then what's left over is going to be thrown away. And Joseph said, well, that's a horrible thing. It's such a waste to get rid of all this fresh, nutritious, fantastic food. And Joseph had this idea right away. He said, can I take it?
Yeah.
And the caterer kind of looked at him, and before you know it, his trunk is full of food. And that night, he went to a homeless shelter for men in his community, and the food that he left there lasted them almost a week.
Wow.
Before you know it, Joseph has a refrigerator in his garage, then he has a second refrigerator in his garage, and then he has people helping him. So that's the year 2003, and Leket came into being.
Wow. So for many years, and I was so impressed with this, that you have been reaching out to Holocaust survivors. How many are living in Israel, and what are you doing? Tell us about how you're helping.
There are almost 200,000 Holocaust survivors still
Wow.
living in Israel. Of course, every year the number gets less and less. So many of them, they don't have family, they don't have necessarily a community that they're associated with. This time of year, it's winter time. They need to heat their apartment. Perhaps they need to purchase medication for their heart. They need food. And so many of them, every month, they're doing their budget. How am I going to survive?
Wow.
And for the poor, for the needy, for the elderly that are on a limited budget, often they'll buy food that fills the stomach and is inexpensive,
Right.
but it's not necessarily the nutritious,
Yes.
most nutritious thing you can have. So yeah, we have a huge emphasis on the elderly, on the Holocaust survivors, providing for them, children of school age. Okay, so there's basically 2 or 3 things that we do that we're successful with, and one of them is hot meal rescue from corporate cafeterias, from army bases, from mall food courts, from restaurants. We have a large number of volunteers, 70,000 last year. People volunteered for us. And we rescued 2.3 million meals for Israel's needs.
I love that,
Amazing.
Ray. And I know that you really are fighting anti-Semitism as well. Just that's our heart. We produce documentaries to fight anti-Semitism. You've got this book, The World's Oldest Hatred Exposed. The World's Oldest Hatred Exposed. And you've been over to Israel since the war against Hamas has started. You know, Hamas started that war October 7th and slaughtered so many Israelis. And what have you guys had done over there in Israel since this happened?
Yes, my wife and I, Rosalind, you mentioned earlier, actually we arrived in Israel on October the 6th, so we were there
You
when
were
the
there
terror
when it
attack
happened.
occurred.
Wow.
We had plans in our social media activities and whatnot to spend a day on a truck with one of our drivers, to spend a day at one of the farms that we receive produce from. We were going to spend a day visiting a few of the 200 plus nonprofit organizations that we supply. None of it happened. It was like for the first few days, the country just was numb, frozen, in shock as to what happened. But you know, it was an honor for us, by the way, to experience just a small glimpse of what Israelis are going through. So we ended up spending time at our central logistics center sorting apples. We received a huge donation of 25 million apples. Last year, as well as the 2.3 million meals, by the way, we rescued 71 million pounds of fresh produce for Israel's needy. Now, those apples that we helped sort, the first place that they went was down to the south for Israeli. So we have a beautiful picture of an Israeli soldier holding his helmet, and it's full of apples. Yeah, so we've mobilized thousands of volunteers to go down south. Amongst the victims, people that were killed were Thai workers from Thailand, and several of Thai farm workers were abducted to Gaza, and the King of Thailand recalled all of its foreign nationals, all of its Thai workers. 1/3 of Israel's agricultural workforce disappeared within just a few days, 25,000 people. So we mobilized volunteers to go down south to help glean. We provided financial assistance to evacuees and to farmers. So yeah, it's really been a horrible tragedy, but it's really brought Israelis together, and Christians and Jews here in America pulling out their wallet and hopping on a plane and helping Israelis in need. So it's really been exciting.
I know we touched a little bit on anti-Semitism, which is our heart, but What are some of the things that you're doing to enlighten people about this hatred?
Yeah, so you mentioned the book that we have. That book is available for download. Stand Against Antisemitism.org.
Oh, wow.
Log in and you can download a free copy of it. Yeah, so it's really, it's almost like as those terrorists broke through the barriers and came into South Israel, it's like a latent anti-Semitism that has existed and we know exists, has come out of the woodwork and has exposed itself publicly as we're hearing shouts of from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. And of course that's a reference to the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea, and we know what nation exists between these two bodies of water. Right? Here's what I like. From the river to the sea, Israel will always be.
Amen.
Amen.
So yeah, we need to oppose anti-Semitism in our social media posts, in our blog posts, in letters to the editor, even when we're sitting down with friends, or perhaps, God forbid, even relatives, and say, no, that's wrong.
Yes.
God has chosen the Jewish people, the land of Israel, to bring forth His word. They're still in a covenant relationship with God. We're grafted into that covenant relationship. And what God loves, the apple of His eye, His treasured possession, His firstborn son, well, there are forces of evil that hate that. And they're working against that. But we know that God has His plan and He's working it out, but He wants us involved. He doesn't want us to just be bystanders.
Amen. And we're right there with you. We're involved as much as we can. Thank you
Praise
so
the Lord.
much.
Thank you so much, Ray. We just want to tell you how much we appreciate your time and for being on Pop Talk today. And you can find out more about the Friends of Leket Israel, the National Food Bank, at their website, ChristianFriendsOfLeket.org.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ray. Just so excited about your work, and hopefully we can help you a little bit
Well,
along
thank you
the
very
way.
much. It's an honor and a privilege, and it was great to meet you.
Yes, it was
Thank
great
you.
to meet you as well. We hope that you'll also reach out to us here at Pearls of Promise Ministries. You can email us at info@pearlsofpromiseministries.com. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Pop Talk Media or at Pearls of Promise, or on Instagram at Pop_Ministries. All of our past Pop Talk television shows are on our YouTube channel at Pearls of Promise Ministries, and we hope that you'll watch our award-winning documentaries to fight anti-Semitism. So that is Pop Talk for today. We're just ordinary girls.
Who God turned into pearls.